Good morning and welcome to The Point. It is Wednesday, October 28th, 2020. Thank you to those of you joining us on the various platforms, Facebook, YouTube, the website, GBN TV, channel 7, 11, and 20. And good morning to the listeners of Classic 105. We're going to get right into it. Thank you so much for joining us. This morning, as our guest, we have Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, the Honorable Clarice Modeste, and she is joining us to bring some light as we get back into the tourism sector. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning to you, Ms. Alexis, and good morning to the listening public of Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and even further afield. I know you have a wide listenership.
Yes,
Good
we
morning
do.
to all. Yes.
Thank you so much. Minister, right now, you look like you are at the airport as we prepare for sod turning this morning. So let's start with sod turning. A major project is expected to get underway today, upgrade of the Morris Bishop International Airport.
Yes.
Give us some details, what you can share as it relates to the project, the cost, the length of time, and so on.
Okay. So again, I'm happy to have this opportunity to share with our Grenadian people. First of all, I want to say happy birthday to MBIA, to all of the players who made it possible for us to have an international airport. I want to go back to the government of the day, the government under Morris Bishop, and the government who was most instrumental in assisting us, the country. These are the Cubans. We cannot forget those people who were instrumental and those who worked here, those who lost their lives here. Very important. I want to recognize that. 36 years of us having an international airport to ease up a lot of the travel hassle that our Grenadian people experienced over the years. Younger persons may not know if persons are 36 or just over 36 and may have been too young to travel, but those persons who would have had the opportunity to travel, they know to have to always transit in another country. It did pose its challenges and its problems, and that made a huge difference to us. And also it has played over the years a significant role in the tourism industry, to bringing in stayover passengers, bringing in and out our local Grenadians as well. And it has contributed by so doing to the very economy of this country, to job creation and all of that. So we are very thankful for our airport. 36 years is a great landmark, but it also means that certain things that were implemented and installed 36 years ago may not be as adequate in today's time as they were then. So we're looking at equipment that need to be upgraded. We're looking at runway that may have been refurbished over time, but may not have had a refurbishment in the past 15 years or so. And we're looking to modernize lights and so on. So if I can segue into some details, I'm going to look at what is in front of me. So one of the major undertaking would be the resurfacing of the existing runway. Every so often it has to be resurfaced because, of course, the material breaks up. You have debris, you have other things that may seem very small, but in terms of safety at our airport makes a lot of difference. And this is one of the things that we are assessed on by our regional oversight body, which is ECA, and international, like ICAO, like IATA, like FAA, and all of these organizations. They come periodically and they assess us. But more importantly, we want to ensure that our operation provide a safe and secure environment for the aircraft, for the machinery, as well as persons who are in those aircraft. So that is the first thing that we're going to do. And then a construction of an aircraft turning bay. Especially the larger aircrafts, when they land from the western end they have to go all the way up and then turn around to come back down. It means that during this period, no activity can take place. If we widen if we create another turning point, then the aircraft can, and that turning point is meant to make the distance shorter, so the aircraft can turn around in a shorter time. There are benefits for that. The time frame, as I just mentioned, shorter time. Also, the emissions, you lessen on the emissions, less fuel, whatever, over time. So there are benefits to that. You get the aircraft out back into the terminal so that other flights can come in. And we've been blessed to have flights coming in quick succession. Pre-COVID, I always say Ivan because the two disasters are linked in my mind. But COVID is definitely, I think it's worse. But pre-COVID, we've had sometimes 2, 3 large aircraft from the US and Europe, from London, coming in pretty much at the same time. And therefore, it is important that we evacuate the runway as soon as possible for safety and efficiency. Upgrading of the airfield lighting system. It has been there for quite a while, and they're looking at more energy efficient. They're looking at LED, so that would save cost, but the lighting is more effective as well. So that is an essential area that needs to be upgraded. The construction of a 2-way apron service lane, that again would facilitate the movements of the aircraft and also create an exit way should any problem, one be blocked or something like that, or the space be blocked, then that will ease that problem. We are doing some projects on the terminal as well. Every time, you know, and I'm sure you have traveled far beyond and even closer to home, when the large planes, you see the large planes come and they hook up to the terminal, and therefore, for ease of exit and entrance into the plane, you just go straight, you have wheelchairs and so on. That is done. And so these are our jet bridges. They will be building 2 of that to facilitate the larger planes. So instead of having to bring in a large step, which can be a bit cumbersome, these bridges, air bridges, would facilitate exit and exit and entrance on the plane. So I look forward to seeing that. Also, so there'll be the 2 passenger boarding bridges. And of course, there has to be escalators, elevators, or whatever linked with that. On the outside, on the land side, especially now where we're going to need to enforce the social distancing and the spacing between persons who are leaving the country and persons who are coming in. But I'm talking about the outside now, which are not covered. We're going to be constructing a canopy so that persons checking in can be covered. And so they feel more comfortable while waiting to come inside to be checked in. And we feel this will provide a little bit more comfort and convenience for travelers, and of course, minimize the need for people clustering together to shelter the rain or anything from the existing shelters that we have. The air traffic management system, I've been told it is very outdated. And there are a number of things. As things get older, their efficiency become affected, but also sometimes they become obsolete to the point where if you have to search for parts for them or replacement of anything, it becomes more difficult. And the staff at the airport have told me that this is one of the situations that they have difficulties in sourcing parts for that. Also, construction of a 2-way bypass road. You would well realize, and our Grenadian brothers and sisters would realize, that there are facilities, there are businesses past the airport. And so vehicles wanting to get to, there are restaurants, there's a beach, there's another hotel and so on. Persons wanting to get to those areas, they have to pass through the airport traffic. So at the back of the car park, they're going to be building a two-way road that allows people to bypass completely the airport operations for our area if they are not going to the airport. And the construction of an emergency operations center and administrative offices. So there's an old building at the back of the airport. It was damaged in one of the hurricanes. That building, I'm not sure if it's going to be completely demolished and rebuilt or if it's going to be refurbished and upgraded, but it is badly damaged. So we're going to see what is going to happen there. But our administrative offices will go there. That would leave us more room to generate a little bit of income. So I'm told that the spaces where the offices are located now will be used for concessionaires, open offices, maybe nice craft store, so that persons who didn't get the opportunity to buy before they left still have a last opportunity or something beautiful or maybe a nice meal, whatever it is, but it will be reconfigured for commercial space. So there are quite a lot of things going on. Some of them are essential at this time, like the air traffic system and so on. The resurfacing of the runway is critical at this time. Some of them are very useful and I would say necessary, if not essential, because, and I must commend the team at MBI over the years and in recent times. I remember going to an international meeting and we were praised because our airport sustains itself financially. Whereas in a lot of other countries, they were telling me that the government of the day has to finance, or there's a private sector, public sector kind of combination. And the team has done fabulously in terms of generating enough income to finance the day-to-day operations of the airport. And we hope they can do even more of that, bearing in mind too that they would have to make a little extra to finance the loan. And you did ask about the amount. So as I speak to that, I will just say that loan, the grand total for now is 67,742,000. This is the grand total, and that is US. I personally believe that our airport needs all of the upgrading that has been listed here. There are a number of other things to be done that cannot be done. I do not want to exclude completely our sister island, Carriacou. I do not have all of the details, but even as we speak, I know work has been done there in recent times to accommodate COVID processes and also to make it more comfortable for passengers. But we're also looking at, as we upgrade MBIA and we seek to improve on the traffic between Grenada and the mainland and of course Carriacou. For locals, there is a demand for that, and also for visitors, so there'll be more visitor traffic to Carriacou on a regular basis. So these are just some of the things that we're going to be doing, and I'll hand over to you again.
I'm sure a lot of people would agree, MBIA needs this upgrade, but the concern that I've heard from members of the public relates to the loan coming from the People's Republic of China, and then there's this perception of what would happen if we default on the loan and China taking over assets, Grenada's assets, to repay that loan. How would you respond to that? Is this a concern of government? Have we heard that complaints, a matter of fact? And how concerned are we that this could be a possibility for Grenada?
Okay, so I have heard those complaints here and there. Nobody has spoken to me about it, and you're the first one asking that, so thank you for that. Well, there's always concerns if one defaults, whether it's airport, it is still Grenada. So we are concerned about that, and we are concerned about the airport's ability to generate the income to pay. But as I said just before, airport has proven itself. I am aware that this is a very difficult time, that maybe the volume of passengers that we have enjoyed coming in and going out of MBIA may not, we may not get to those levels immediately. But one has to plan in quiet times so that when the busy time do come around, and it will change. The world has shown us that. 1918, you had a pandemic. We've had 2008, we had a downturn in the economy globally. We here have in 1911 instead of 18. However, we have had our own disasters here, and we have supervised. So I have confidence in the Ministry of Finance. We've had them. It wasn't just airport staff dealing with that, but the Ministry of Works was integrally involved, and the Ministry of Finance. And I think they did a wise negotiation, because the loan doesn't start immediately. We will be given the opportunity. There's some years of what they would call a moratorium, where we do not have to pay back immediately. That will give us some time to recover and start generating serious incomes to do that. But also, I do not know of, I have heard about situations in Africa. I cannot speak to it, and so I will not endeavor to do that. But what I do know is that the Chinese thus far have dealt with us very fairly in the grant projects that they have done for us. Speaking about our national stadium, speaking about the housing projects and other things that they have assisted us with, I personally cannot say that I am deeply troubled, but one has to be conscious that if something has happened somewhere, and as I said, I cannot speak to it, we have to be careful what happens in our own country. But I must say, from our experience, the Chinese have been very helpful to us. I do not want to say too much. I don't want to go off track lest I be misquoted or misunderstood, but the fact remains that their dealings with us have been very much above board. And so our confidence is built on the skill of the negotiation with the team, with the loan facility. 2, the airport's historical ability to generate income. 3, the fact that there will be a moratorium, there will be a space to recover. And that 4, we need to do these things, and we need to be always, for one, we have to be on the cutting edge to be competitive. But also, if these things are not done, we would again be on the verge of being downgraded, and we will not be able to operate until these things come into force. Persons may know of a better source of funding, and if so, I'm sure the government will be all ears to listen. I haven't heard of any recommendation as to where to go, but I do know that we need this. So I will not criticize persons. I believe that Grenadians, by and large, they love their country, and they do not want to see anything go wrong. But I just want to say, let us rest with some level of confidence that the negotiation was well done, and that so far we have been well treated by the Chinese.
Okay. Before we go to the break and before we move on to the wider getting back into tourism, let me ask this MBIA-related question as well. Just today's Wednesday, so it was over the weekend, I saw a report of a major shakeup at MBIA when it comes to the top heads at MBIA, specifically the GM. Can you speak to that and what is taking place? Is there shakeup going on at MBIA in light of the mishap 2 weeks ago? 2
Well, let me say, I cannot pretend that what happened it didn't impact us very seriously. It is serious, very serious. And especially it couldn't have happened at a worse time when the planes are ready to come and we've been waiting quite a long time. However, I would suffice it to say at this time, we have an obligation to investigate the issue, and we're doing that. And we also have an obligation to make changes if the investigation shows that changes are required to improve. I think it's our duty. However, the GM did have some vacation that were owing to her. Her contract has expired, and therefore the GM decided to take some vacation pending. She has decided to resign and take some vacation pending that time of resignation. So this is where we are at this time. Can't say if there will be any other shakeup. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody leaving, but it might be putting somebody in a more appropriate position or so on. But we are very concerned about what happened.
So I just want to clarify, she's issued her resignation, but she's taken vacation
She's
before.
Taken vacation that is owed to her, yes.
Okay, when does the resignation take effect from?
The resignation takes effect from the end of the month, but we are having discussion as to how we operate it, because we must put structures in place now for succession. And so what we've done is we have a lady who is no stranger to MBIA. She has worked here before, Mrs. Joan Gilbert. She is going to be acting in the interim while we sort things out, because we have to look at it carefully. We don't want to be throwing blame. We don't want to demoralize people. As I said, our staff has worked excellently over the years, and we will recognize that to take us to where we are today and to take us to where we contemplate being. However, we realize that some things have to be done. So we're in the process of reviewing, and we will let you and the public know how we're going to serve you better in the very near future.
All right, now let's take the break. This is To The Point with Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Clarice Modeste. This is To The Point. We'll be right back.
You know, one day I woke up and, you know, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. You know, nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey.
This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body and the Traffic Department.
Greetings everyone. I hope this message meets you and yours in the best of health as we join in encouraging all to act responsibly.
COVID-19 presents the most serious
and deadly challenge
any of us will experience in our lifetimes.
We must act now.
We need to keep the Caribbean safe.
We can all help to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Please stay at home.
So Caribbean people, please stay home.
Caribbean people, please stay at home.
Please stay home. It's that simple. This too shall pass. But for now, stay home.
Stay in your yard. Stay home, stay safe.
Tony off. There Jah goes again. He took me to a higher level, higher. Oh, Daddy Father blessing me, blessing me. Oh, Daddy Father. Whoa.
Welcome back to The Point, speaking with Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Clarice Modeste. Minister, before we go to our viewers and listeners, I see the phones ringing. We are getting back into the tourism industry. We've started welcoming flights. We've seen the return of Virgin Atlantic over the weekend. How promising is the tourism and the bounce back following COVID-19 pandemic?
You know, where there's life, there's always hope. And we cannot move forward if we lose hope. But we also have to be realistic. It is still very much touch and go. It is still very fluid, very, very, very uncertain. And if I didn't say that to my beloved brothers and sisters in this country, I'll be doing myself and them a disservice. However, being cognizant of the fact that the industry does provide or contribute about 25% of to the revenues and to the economy, being aware that we have over 4,000 Grenadians who are employed directly in the industry, be it in the hotel sector, be it at the airport, be it at as tour operators, as vendors, and so on, who depend upon that. And we have heard their cries, and we realize that we have to endeavor to restart. We are also looking at what has happened in the region, taking into consideration what has happened in places like St. Lucia, like Antigua, like Jamaica. Not every member state, not every country has dared to restart right now, and some only restarted recently. I know St. Kitts and Nevis, they're about to restart. I'm not sure. In a few days, if they haven't started yet, they should soon start.
Yeah.
Yes, somewhere soon. And all of us, we've tried our best to prepare, to train, to do dry runs and everything else, but things will happen. So the thing is, in those countries, what they found is that there was very little, minimal transmission of the COVID disease from visitors who are in accommodation facilities that are approved, that are properly structured and so on, and operational. Very, very, very little. In some countries, none at all. And they have found, unfortunately, that it's the locals who go to mingle when they return that have contributed to clusters of the disease and maybe community spread in some areas. And so we believe that we could bring persons safely back home, bring our locals safely back home. We are seeking more cooperation and collaboration. I'm sure the Ministry of Health would have spoken to that. The police would have spoken to that. Because even when one person escapes, it just takes one. So it might seem small, but extremely significant when people do not observe the guidelines. So I hope the few cases we have had would be lessons for all of us, and that our Grenadians, brothers and sisters, would be more compliant. But in the hotels, we are also working, the Ministry of Health, if they have not done so, we'll soon be talking about additional structures, because we need to monitor the hotels better to ensure that persons or the facilities, quarantine facilities, to ensure that they do not break the quarantine. Some people will do it. You know, sometimes in speaking to some people I know, and I will call and say, well, I hope you're observing the protocols and doing what they say. Well, you know, they would say to me, well, some, you know, doc, whatever. I understand the importance of this thing and the severity of this disease, and so I would not do that. But some may not understand it as they say, and therefore there is a new team, a new structure being implemented now to ensure more appropriate policing. And when I say policing, I don't mean actual police, RGPF, but monitoring of these places. And over the next few weeks, I expect to see more. We have been talking in the industry to hoteliers about ensuring that they adhere to the protocols. We've had training over many weeks and retraining, but we just have to keep it together. And I have confidence that if we do, as long as borders are open, and the numbers don't really fly out of control, then we could keep the industry going. And I say, as long as they do not fly out of control, I say it with a certain measure of caution, because in our own country, just as we took swift action at the initial stages to go into lockdown, we would have to be monitoring and very carefully what is happening abroad. But I think for the moment, we're still good. The visitors are being tested. Persons who come here after the 4 days, they're being tested. There may be glitches here and there. People are told 4 days, and on the 5th day, they're still waiting for their test results. But we are still better than a number of countries. Sometimes you have to wait 1 week, 10 days to get your results. So 1 day, 2 days turnaround, I would say, let us tell people, prepare to stay 5 days or 6 days in the quarantine facility, just in case your results doesn't come on time. But it has been working pretty well. So I have some measure of confidence. I would not take a reckless position and say, let everybody come. I think it is just cautious observing and being involved, helping to give the right kind of support where it is needed, so that we can detect any kind of negative impact very early and make the decisions. I think we need to do it because the other thing is, whether it's cruise, whether it is aircraft, and particularly for cruise, they make their schedules 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years in advance. So some goodwill has to be seen there. The aircrafts, they need about a 6 month window so that they can reschedule. So therefore, if we tell them they cannot come now, it means that we would have to wait 6 months from the date we say we were opening. So we have been fortunate because we opened, was it the 1st of October? And to international flights. And here it is, flights were ready to come. And that is because we have been working as a team, engaging BA, engaging Virgin, and saying, look, we're getting ready, we're doing things. And so they were able to schedule before the 6 months. And we hope to hold on to that course to see increasing numbers come in. We are encouraged by what is happening, as I said, in the few countries I mentioned, but we are also concerned about what happens in other countries. So it is a tightrope, but I believe a necessary one to bring back employment, to bring back some measure of activities to our ports so that we do not get left out eventually. And I must add, very soon we'll be having, I don't remember which date it is, 2 flights coming on AA in 1 day with 1 hour apart. And not only are they coming to pick up passengers, but they're coming because there's a demand to transport cargo. Our soursop, our fish, and a number of other things. So this airport opening and remaining open is not only important for passengers, it's also important for, and I'm so happy because I know not so long ago, we had some spoilage at MBI. So we're working with the farmers, we do have refrigerated containers to see how they can store things, and airport staff are working with them. It is important that we get MBI up and running.
This is the point of the program where we invite our viewers and listeners who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns for Minister Modeste. This is your chance to do so. 435-2041, that's the landline number. That's also the WhatsApp number. Please, only written messages on WhatsApp. You can also post your comments on the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page and the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. Those of you calling, if you can please keep your questions to 1 minute or less in the interest of time. Minister Modeste needs to head out to the sod turning, which starts at 10. So if we can please keep them short and straight, as the program says, to the point. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning to your guest. You know, one thing I like about your guest, that she's always accessible. She has a good attitude. She always answers the questions. I like about that. No bad demeanor. You know, and I want to congratulate for her. It's just that it's sad that Galway had to treat her very unfair. I'd condemn that. But I want to say also to about the lady in the airport, in my deliberate judgment, I find the lady try her best. In relation to this thing that you had talked about last time with the tourism and the people coming on the beach, and you're asking us not to frequent the beach, I have a problem with that. Because I know our problem, I know about the rights and so, but it's just for a few hours, so I condemn you for that. I tend to support you on that. Finally, in relation to these Chinese people, I wonder how much jobs that the Grenadians will be getting. I'm wondering how much of the material that will be bought from our local places, stores and hardware, because them people are accustomed bringing in their things, and they don't give much of a Grenadian jobs. And also, it's not that I want to call them anything, but people doing the Chinese, but they do us a favor, but they remember they want our votes in the United Nations and all these different organizations. So it's like you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and they really do us a favor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Modeste.
Okay, so thank you, caller. Let me take the first one in terms of the beach, and I'm going to mention this word. I have gotten my share of criticism. And look, as a Grenadian, I respect people who are passionate about what is Grenadian. And so I don't fault anybody for, critiquing the request to use a beach for a particular period of time. I am also respectful of the people who make a living by cruise. And I have always felt that there could be a compromise somewhere where we don't hurt our people, we provide jobs, and we provide some entertainment for people to come. I've been blessed to travel to a few countries, not a whole lot, but enough to know that Grenada has something special that we will always have, and we must protect our environment, our heritage, our culture, but we can share it and still have it. Now, how we do it, the modality has been looked at since the first time I mentioned that. The committee has come a very long way, and they will soon be doing the PR to explain to the community what they have come up with. I think they have come up with some brilliant suggestions. One of the Seacraft, which is the Sea Dream yacht, will only be doing tours at this time. You know, usually when the ships come, some go straight to Grand Anse Beach and some do tours. They'll only be doing tours. They have selected 6 sites. And the people at the sites will be retrained, make sure they're prepared to accommodate. And it will be done in a way that the protocols, the COVID protocols can be observed. The other one, which has asked for the use of a beach, and I want to say use, and I want to take out that that offensive word that that was tagged to beach exclusive. That word is not there in the whole scenario. And but I don't want to go in details because the committee has done their work, and I believe that they need I need to give them their own thunder to bring that. But I think it would be, I have looked at the proposal, and I think it would be acceptable to people. There was some misconceptions. It will clarify everything, misunderstanding, maybe the expression, the way it was expressed wasn't adequate. Let us put all that behind us. Let us look at the proposal and give Grenada the benefit of the doubt. And I don't think it will prevent anyone from using any beach in Grenada at any time. So I wanted to say that. In terms of the sister mentioned about it's a quid pro quo, that is how, having been in foreign affairs, you know that people support you. We support Cuba every year. And I have done it without fear or apprehension or any reluctance to support Cuba every year in the United Nations. We have not had much opportunity to do so for the Chinese, but every country that helps a country, they expect that it's not just the Chinese. Every country expects that. So that is the way of the world, but I take the point and we do have to be careful. But as I said, our experience with them have been impeccable, has been exceptional, and at the risk of offending anybody, what they have given to us has worked well for this country. So that's all I can say.
A YouTube question. Are there plans to make MBIA a 24-hour facility where we have flights coming in on the hour every hour?
I think that would be wonderful for Grenada. Especially we are also looking at not just the mass tourism where 100 and something come by planes, but we're also looking at, and COVID has strengthened me in that conviction that we have to leave a portion of our tourism for very high-end, ultra luxury. If you could take, we have the beautiful places in Grenada, and owners are building more and more facilities that persons with money or deep pockets would want to go to. And so even if it's not the large planes coming in the night, but certainly the smaller jets and so on, the private ones, I think there is room that for us to explore that. I would love to see that. I do not see that happening in the immediate future, especially given COVID. But I think what will contribute significantly to that is this first phase of the expansion. And we're looking at a second phase, but we've been cautious to put a ceiling on the amount of money we can spend now and to prioritize. And I know a lot of consultation has been done with staff. So caller or writer, I think is a brilliant suggestion. I believe Grenada has the capacity to do that.
Let's go back to the phone line. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I find it's very difficult to allocate certain beaches to people who come from abroad or tourist ship. Now, I would feel it might be better that we people in Grenada have been educated to know that if a disease is rampant certain place, don't venture to go there. In other words, if people are coming in a particular beach and you are going to a beach and you see these people are likely to have this thing, keep away from the beach. So the people in Grenada should be educated enough to know that if you see large crowd in a particular beach, don't go there, because I know it's very hard to isolate the beach and say this beach is for so time. It's very hard. We have to educate ourselves and know which place to keep away from at certain times. That's me. So I don't understand. We clamoring, we want to go, we beach, and yet we want money. I don't want money, because I have money and I'm working for money.
All right. Thank you. Minister?
Well, Blossom, I think the caller expressed himself, but I just want to reiterate, let us give the committee a chance, because we might find that certain, as I said, maybe I didn't explain it well, maybe people heard it wrongly. So there was some misunderstanding. And I want us to put the idea of an exclusive beach behind us, and let us look at a way, and I think they have found a way that these people can come. But you know, one of the things he said that makes sense. It does. Anywhere you see a crowded beach at this time, it may not be the place to go and add to those numbers. So whether it's locals, whether it's visitors, I think we should watch that. And maybe Grenada has a number of beautiful beaches. Maybe it's time to spread out a little bit, and not for visitors, but for our own safety, because our own people could be COVID positive at any time. So I think we should avoid the crowds at all costs.
A Facebook question. The airport was designed and built by Grenadians with the help of the government and people of Cuba through blood, sweat, and tears. Why didn't you use Cuba contractors to do the refurbishing of MBIA along with Grenadians instead of Chinese contractors Chinese contractors?
Okay, let me just explain something. Over many years, we have dealt with the Kuwaiti Fund, and this is Arab company. They would allow bidding, and so they want people to tender for a project. But the only companies that are eligible are companies that are Arabic. I don't know if they limit it to certain countries, but they will only do that to Arabic. The Chinese have a similar thing. They would tender out to their people. That's their policy. So I know the Chinese and the Cubans work very well. Who knows? Maybe at another juncture, there could be a combined effort. I would love to see the Cubans come back and work here. Honestly, I have a soft spot in my heart for them, and I would love to see that. But it's not possible. Given the arrangement, it's just not possible at this time. But I think all Grenadians are at MBI, there's a high respect and regard for the Cubans and the roles they played.
There is a WhatsApp question. Hold on, let me go back to the phone lines before I go to that question. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning. I just want to ask, sorry, let me take this off. I just wanted to ask the minister. I don't know if it was mentioned, because I've been going in and out from the room where the radio is. This project with the airport, is it under the Belt and Road Initiative? And if it is, does the government know what impact this Belt and Road Initiative had in other countries, especially in Africa, where they cause the countries, they give them projects and they accepted projects that cost money that they cannot pay, and when they cannot pay, China take control of all their national assets, like the water, the ports, and the power companies and everything like that. And it's sometimes for years. One country had to sign a petition, a document to let China occupy the port for 100 years because they ran them up into debt that they could not pay, and that is what they have to pay. Africa is now opening their eyes to what this Belt and Road Initiative, which they refer to as the Chinese debt trap. I hope Grenada knows what it is doing, because we are just 133 square miles. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister?
Okay. As far as I know, I know very little about the Belt and Road, I must confess this, but I know that there have been discussions on it, but this project isn't a part of that, no.
A WhatsApp question is basically asking, with the money that is being spent on the upgrade on MBIA, why wasn't this money put into refurbishing our main roads and improving our health sector?
Okay, I know quite a significant amount of money has been spent on the health sector, and it continues as we have been talking budget for 2021, and I know significant monies have been spent in 2020 that were not even planned for. and that government does plan to spend more. But I must say, you have to spread the monies around. You have to spread it on what can generate income and what also cannot. Health is in a special place by itself in the sense that, without health, you have nothing really. And so it has a certain special priority that other areas do not have. But I know for a fact that the money spent on the airport will not interfere with any money that government intends to spend on health. And we continue to look for more revenues in that regard. I know the road needs fixing, but frankly, I think if we work well with the airport, it will generate income to help in that area too. So sometimes it's just a chicken and egg situation. Road is important, airport important. Sometimes you have to take one.
Are there plans to make public the agreement and or design for the airport between government and the People's Republic of China?
Are there plans to
make the agreement and the designs for the upgrade, to make them public?
To make them public. I am sure yes, I don't see why not. Government has always been disposed to do that, and I think it's a responsibility of the government to let the public know whatever we've undertaken in the name of the country, because it's a responsibility. I would expect that to happen soon.
A WhatsApp question. It is said that British Airlines canceled for the rest of the year. Is there any truth to that?
No, that one was fake news. That one was a fake news, and that should have been stamped as fake news. It wasn't. No. I must say, everyone concerned, the chairman of the ELIF committee, the GTA, our agents abroad, we had been in touch with British Airways and Virgin all the way to let them know. We were even tracking the supplies as they were coming in and said, hold on, don't give up on us. It's in the Caribbean, it's coming in, and so on. And because of the relationship that we've established with them, they had trust in us. And they had to cancel the fourth one because the expected date of arrival of the supplies the expected date was very close to the next flight, and which is today actually. The one before was the 24th, and we were expecting the supplies on the 22nd. So that was too tight for them. Just in case something went wrong, it would have been too late for them to do the cancellations in an appropriate manner. So they had to do that cancellation, but I am told that they're coming in today. We're expecting them today. And they will continue as long as conditions are, I wouldn't say favorable, because COVID doesn't have anything favorable about it. Let me not say that. There have been opportunities that people have used in this COVID time. And, I am just blown away by some innovations that people have done. People who worked in the industry, tourism industry, they start cooking their own food, going out and deliver. And, so I am happy to see that. So let me not say there is nothing favorable. But in terms of what's happening in countries, we do not see anything favorable there in terms of the disease. But as long as it remains in a controlled way and a way that the health persons tell us we can control it, it will continue. So they have sent us their schedule for the next flight. And of course, Virgin has already come in. So our UK flights are coming in. And so that was a fake news. And how fake news go fast.
Let me just take this final caller. I know I have to let you run, Minister. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, I want the lady to run. So I'm asking a short question. I guess you know what you mean by tide aid. Are we getting tide aid from China? Any one of you can explain. Blossom, you can explain, so you can start the ball. Or the minister can explain. Tide aid, explain that, and if we're getting it from China.
Thank you. Minister?
Blossom, could you translate that one?
What is tide aid, and if we're getting it from China? I have no idea what tide aid is, so I can't.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
If we are, I cannot say. I know this was an arrangement, a business arrangement above board, and I don't know if that qualifies for tide aid. But as far as I know, no.
And finally, Minister, how long, I'm not sure if you highlighted, how long do we have to repay the loan? Do we have to repay the loan to China?
That one, I will have to get back to you on that one. So hold me to that.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Modeste. Thank you for sharing some time. I'll let you run off now to get to that sod turning. Thank you for shedding some light for us.
It has been a pleasure, and we'll be asking you to accommodate our team or the representative who looked at how we can bring in crews, and I believe they found a way. So let us see how we can start crews as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Clarice. Thank her very much. She's running off now to the sod turning that will signal the start of upgrade work to be done at the Morris Bishop International Airport, a project that will cost in excess of $67 million. And that's the end of my time today. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in. I know there are questions that I have not gotten into, but in the interest of time, we need to end the program here. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, God willing. Have yourselves a safe, productive Wednesday. Joseph is up next with Mid-Morning Buzz. Have a good one.